I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
The sea view is somewhere off in the frozen north. China is about to detonate a new nuclear weapon, and we snuck up there to watch and evaluate it. Unfortunately, when the sea view did that, everybody inside bashed their heads on the ceiling and were knocked unconscious. Nobody actually saw the test.
How big a blast do you think it'll be?
Intelligence says the device is about the size of a milk carton. Well, if they detonate under ice, I wouldn't expect to see anything but a big geyser of water.
That's the first thing we need to talk about. For you kids, milk used to come in waxed cardboard cartons, and a quart at a time was about all anybody needed. The cartons were easy to use and biodegradable, so of course somebody in the plastic industry had to come up with something better that sits in a landfill for 400 years. This is called progress.
Maybe we should have moved in closer.
No, we're 25 miles from detonation point. That's close enough.
But is it close enough to see a big geyser of water? Never mind, I think they can see just fine. Admiral Nelson can't believe a blast like that came from such a small package.
The one thing we're positive of is the device is between 12 and 16 inches in length and not over 4 inches in diameter.
And if you can't believe the head of the Time Tunnel Project, whom can you believe?
Come over here. The firebolt that we saw just before we passed out was at least 20 miles across.
Not to mention they were 25 miles away and the shockwave knocked them on their cans.
By the time our exec got to us, he said it had climbed to 10,000 feet and measured at least 70 miles across. Now, an explosion that big couldn't come from a device no bigger than a milk carton.
I tell you it did.
Now, you have to face the fact they developed a proton bomb.
A proton bomb. We have neutron bombs, but the only references to a proton bomb that I could find are part of the Star Wars universe. So I suspect this is something that Irwin's team invented out of whole cloth. But as always, feel free to correct me. Just remember, this was made in 1965, so when you go to correct me, be careful to make the time adjustment to avoid anachronisms. Let's look in on the guys who created this thing. The main man is Everett Lang, an American scientist who defected to China.
I congratulate you, gentlemen. At this moment, we are the most powerful nation in the world.
Yes, they are. But that's not why Lang defected, helped him build this thing, and all the rest.
I hope you have no regrets.
In my country, in the United States, I'm despised as a defector and a traitor. But I would gladly do what I did again to give the world this chance for lasting peace.
He really thinks that giving this weapon to China will force all the nuclear powers to disarm, including China.
Perhaps if your American schools taught political science as effectively as they teach electronics, you would better understand what I am about to tell you. Yes. You came to us on the naive belief that by helping us become a mighty nation, the balance of power in the world would be restored and peace assured.
That's right. He figured arming China, the same as the United States and the Soviet Union, would lead to everybody putting their weapons down, holding hands, and singing Kumbaya.
Perhaps you were right. With this weapon in my command, there may be peace. But it will be on my terms.
We've seen starry-eyed idealists before on this channel, but I think this guy takes the prize. China is a totalitarian state. The government controls everything and always has its eye on some other country's resources that it would love to take for itself. He thought that country would be interested in bringing about world peace. Suddenly he is having regrets, for all the good it'll do him. Did he do any research about China at all before he defected? I don't think so. He wasn't just naive, he had blinders on. And now he's in big trouble. He survives the shooting, but he only has one chance of staying alive beyond today.
This could be the break we've been waiting for, Harry. Everett Lang, one of the world's outstanding nuclear physicists.
The traitor.
He disappeared behind the bamboo curtain about 10 years ago.
What can he possibly do for us?
He contacted one of our people in Chugai. Said he had important information that he'd trade for clemency and safety in the States.
Clemency and safety.
For some reason, they tried to execute him.
There's no mystery about that. He served his purpose and they didn't need him anymore. The thing is, he insists that the Seaview be the boat to take him out. No Seaview, no proton bomb information. Those ordinary submarines won't do for someone as important as he is. He has to have the cool one. He's been hinting that there's another, much larger bomb that's in place on the ocean floor. Seaview is the best way to recover and disarm it. Admiral Connor's men have a junk standing by to take him out to open water and rendezvous with the Seaview. But they can't send him the coordinates on an open channel. The authorities will pick it up and be there before they are. Captain Crane will disguise himself and go into town to bring Lang out. The police getting their jollies by harassing poor people who have nothing isn't just an American thing. Why are they doing that? From what they can see, he's your basic legless beggar who's just trying to collect a few coins so he can get a little to eat. This could throw a wrench in their plans.
So far, so good. Don't worry, you're in good hands. We're with the resistance movement.
Or not, they weren't real cops. I think that's the best news Crane has heard in years.
You must be Everett Lang.
Yes, I am.
Would you mind helping me out of this rig?
Lee Crane has dedicated his adult life to serving and protecting the United States of America. Lang took the most destructive secrets on the planet and gave them to a sworn enemy of the United States, and he really expects Captain Crane to shake his hand? For someone who just barely survived an attempted murder and is on the run begging his old country to save him, he's awfully full of himself. John Cassavetes is almost better known as a director than an actor. He won lots of acclaim as an independent filmmaker. Sometimes he paid for everything himself if he really believed in a project. He was an accomplished actor, as we can see, but directing seems to have been his first love. Unfortunately, one of his other loves was alcohol, and it killed him by way of cirrhosis of the liver at age 59. And as Everett Lang, the way Captain Crane is looking at him, if they didn't need his information, he'd be on the floor getting choked out right about now. They disguise themselves as fishermen, and Crane, Lang, and the woman, Su Yin, make their way to the junk that'll take them out of the harbor to the rendezvous point.
Is he our captain?
Notorious smuggler.
Can he be trusted?
Probably not. But he would do anything if he's paid well enough.
Then you better make sure you have more money to offer him than the authorities do, because guys like him have no loyalty and very little honor.
1,000 Hong Kong dollars.
It's only 180 American dollars. Don't you think I'm worth more than that?
Lang, as far as they're concerned, you aren't worth a fart in a hurricane. Your information is what matters. You're expendable. They appear to be heading for the open ocean without incident. If you're thinking that looks like one of the gun ports they used to have on the old wooden warships, it is. That covered up thing next to him is a very large machine gun. And it's about time to uncover it and start using it. Unfortunately, a machine gun against a cannon isn't a very fair matchup. Su Yin is mortally injured. With her dying breaths, she tells them, get off the ship. Swim for all you're worth, because the captain will turn you in to save his own hide, if he gets the chance. Looks like he won't get the chance. What happened to him? Who cares? Where's Captain Crane? Okay, if they can both fit on that random piece of debris, explain to me why Rose and Jack couldn't both fit on that door. The Seaview spots them and brings them aboard. Now Lang will take us to where this other bomb is so they can bring it up and disarm it.
And Lang, the president himself has said he will ensure your safety.
Well, I'd prefer him to express his gratitude in a vastly more important way.
How?
By disarming. By destroying your weapons. By taking a step back from the brink of a Holocaust.
The World Disarmament Congress is working toward that end right now, Lang.
At a snail's pace.
He really thinks disarming the nuclear powers is a matter of taking the weapons and throwing them in the recycling bin. He's one of the top nuclear scientists in the world, so he knows better, but he seems to think if he threatens, cajoles, or does enough favors, the world will do it his way, whether it's possible or not. I'm afraid I don't trust him, and I don't think Nelson should either.
The bomb is on the ocean floor about 500 feet beneath the surface.
Well, why didn't they place it lower, in one of the great trenches, for example?
Well, for one thing, they wanted to be able to recover it. Also, none of the great trenches is in the right location.
You mean that the trenches are all too close to them?
It's a little more chilling than that, Admiral.
The bomb's area of effect depends upon where it is detonated. Now, for example, if it was triggered just 100 miles to the east, no place on Earth would be spared.
How could you possibly help them to construct a weapon like this?
They were a weak power. They were preaching all the right things.
So he listened to what they were preaching rather than looking at what they were doing and came up with this bonehead plan.
They hated war. They deplored nuclear weapons.
And you believe that?
I thought if they had power, they would also have the wisdom to force the world to disarm.
You're not only a traitor, you're stupid as well.
That's about the size of it, and he got a gut full of bullets for his efforts. There are sensors, mines, and other hazards surrounding the bomb, but Lang knows how to disarm all of them. The underwater sequence is pretty bland. They don't even run into a sawfish. The bomb is on board, and Lang is working on it.
There. Well, there it's done. Now, no one in the world can detonate that bomb except me.
What are you talking about?
It's quite simple. I haven't disarmed the bomb. I've simply made it impossible for anyone else to set it off.
I knew they shouldn't trust him. He's a true believer. He really thinks he can force the world to disarm. Remember what he said about where the bomb is detonated? He'll force Captain Crane to head to one of those spots that would destroy the whole world.
Mr. Lang, Right now in Zurich, the World Disarmament Congress.
And how long will it take them? 2 years? 10? 100?
How long did it take to get to this point, Lang? This didn't happen overnight, and you can't undo it overnight. But as I said, he's a true believer. He's one button push away from destroying the world so he can save it. This is true believer logic. Blow up the world before they blow themselves up. He puts in a call to that disarmament conference they've been talking about.
He demands that the World Disarmament Congress surrender its powers to him.
It's out of the question. You know as well as I his demands will be rejected.
Bill, they've got to pretend to go along with him. That'll give us time to figure a way of disarming the bomb.
Something Lang hasn't thought about. They haven't reached those coordinates he mentioned yet, and he can only push that button once. If he blows himself up before they get there, he'll do some damage, but it won't have any effect on anybody's decisions. For that matter, if he does set it off at a spot that'll destroy the world, that also won't have any effect on anybody's decisions because nobody will be around to make any. He doesn't care. He's drunk with power.
The member nations have appointed you President pro tem of the Congress and have unanimously agreed to abide by your rulings.
Whatever Admiral Connors said to them was effective.
At last. We're about to move back from the brink. I've done it. Submarine Seaview is the capital of the world. And man's destiny is mine to shape.
As I said, drunk with power. It's not about saving the world anymore. It's about him being the big shot.
The terms of the capitulation are simple. Each nation has 24 hours in which to destroy its weapons. Now, I leave it to the World Disarmament Congress to decide how this is to be done and how each nation is to prove to each other and to me that this has been accomplished.
Does he not understand how nuclear disposal is done? He thinks they can just take a hammer to thousands of warheads and that's that? He's not just drunk with power, he's crazy. But while he's been strutting around like a peacock on Viagra, Admiral Nelson has been quietly studying the bomb.
We're going to make him push that button.
What do you mean?
Now, look here. Now, the blast won't be instantaneous. When he presses the button, this ignition rod has to burn through the container to detonate the bomb.
And in that interval, we disarm the bomb.
Right.
Okay, assemble a team and let's do this.
What is it, Admiral? We still have several hours before we're here.
We've waited as long as we're going to wait, Lang.
But we still haven't heard. I know they'll do it, Nelson. I know they'll do it.
They've rejected your demands.
But they can't. I mean, do they think I'm bluffing? Don't they know that I'll press this?
Give it to me, Lang.
No.
As Admiral Nelson said, the key to disarming it is keeping the thingy from burning through the other thingy to set off the, you know.
3 seconds to spare, Admiral.
Foul on the play. The industry standard is 2 seconds. I'm afraid that's going to be a 5 rating point penalty. It's also only a reprieve. That thing is burning through the plate that he put under it.
Give me a hand. Let's get these proton cylinders out.
You didn't do that anyway because once they have those things out, it's basically a very large conventional explosive. They can shoot it out the airlock before it detonates and do their best to scramble as far away as possible, while Lang stands there and watches his delusions of godhood turn to a lot of dead fish. When a thermonuclear bomb doesn't work right, they call it a fizzle, kind of like the rest of Lang's life. Nelson was right. Lang is stupid. He thought he was the world's savior after he already let himself get duped by some of the most transparent propaganda ever. When you're applying to be dictator of the world, that doesn't look good on your resume. It's always fun to see Whit Bissell today playing Admiral Connors, and some of John Cassavetes' expressions gave me shivers. As long as we can buy the idea that 10 years or so in the future somebody has managed to invent a proton bomb, it's a good episode with a powerful statement to make. You can't force peace onto people. Enough people, especially enough people in power, have to want it. Try offering them a lifetime supply of chocolate with it. That could work.
I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
400 years. Air! Union would lead to union, same as the the what? Be the vote, because nobody will be whatever I'm more. You give me a pain where I never had a window.